Hi again. More tiny house talk. This shouldn't surprise some of you by now. Okay, I have been asked this question, and it's been asked a number of times, so I'm going to address this. People want to know, why in the hell would I want to move into some tiny little house when I have a big spacious house paid for in full? 3 miles from the beach in the beautiful subtropics with lower property taxes than anyone I know of. Part of why the taxes are low is because I bought my home 15 years ago, so I'm sort of grandfathered into that from back in the day and what I paid. Okay. I did a more involved video about the issues with the city's chemical water, and I'm tired of paying for it. I also don't want to be a criminal breaking the law if I collect rainwater and use it indoors for potable use. Also, the electric company, their power surges have actually caused fires. They will never admit this. A home across the street burned down. There was a time the surges and blackouts were so serious and frequent that I wrote the electric company a letter expressing fear they're going to burn my house down. I also had a friend in another town south of here whose house burned down because of an electrical surge coming in. It's overkill for what we really need. We're talking serious voltage. Now, in my area since then, quite a few years back, they did come in and redo the underground cables, which were like dinosaurs, you know, and we have not had the power problems any longer. So that's going well, and the electric is more reliable. But at the same time, I don't want to pay them, and I don't want to be connected to something with that kind of voltage. And my needs can be met with a few simple solar array panels, a wind generator, a solar tower, also called a solar chimney. And that can actually work a lot like a windmill, and you can produce electric by putting a generator or a turbine in it. Okay, so putting that aside, people are saying, but it's so affordable for me right here, and it's such a nice spot. Yeah, that's true, but it's not going to be affordable when this thing needs a new roof, you know. And this home, the footprint of it, and it's a single-story home, is a wee bit shy of 1,300. It's 1,260 square feet. So imagine when it comes time to re-roof, what kind of money I'm going to have to shell out, you know. It'll be significant. My neighbor spent 5 figures. Now, to me, that sounds extremely high, and I'm sure I could get a better deal, but you're going to be dropping 4 figures at the least, you know, if you have to hire someone. Also, it's a job I don't want to do myself. I'm pretty competent and handy and have a background with some construction, and, well, in fact, I have a hard-on for designing and building things, and I'm for overkill. I have a real disgust for the lack of craftsmanship I see today, and people are just building mass-produced shit that ends up in landfills, and they even make homes that are falling apart, and cars won't be antiques anymore because they'll just be falling apart before they can even become vintage, you know. So I would really love to build a place from scratch, using materials that play nice with all of the elements, okay? And again, I'm for overkill. I like the idea of a home that takes care of you, instead of you always having to take care of it. Now, some of you might say, well, homes are always going to need maintenance. Well, most of the conventional built ones are, yeah, you're right. But guess what? There are alternative ways to build that are more solid and permanent, and it's not going to be that type of maintenance to the extent conventional stuff requires with labor, money, you know, time. So there's something very primal about building your shelter, and this is something I absolutely must do in my own lifetime. One thing that has been suggested is that I could rent my house out. Just keep this house, rent it out, and then I can go do my little thing. If it doesn't work out, well, first off, I'm not going into this like it's not going to work out. Those are naysayers who have no vision, and most of them don't even have a creative bone in their body. And I have accomplished everything I have set out to do in my life. And this is not an intimidating and scary endeavor for me. It's very invigorating, inspiring, and exciting. So I will be going off-grid in a tiny house. And with going smaller and more practical, especially to meet my needs, I can afford very high-end, beautiful quality materials. Like, if I want a stone floor and counters, I can have that. If I want a marble bathtub, I can have that. You know, this is the beauty of living within your means and not going overkill on size. And let's face it, sometimes more is just more. And it's more to maintain, more to clean. You know, more taxes they're going to charge you the bigger your footprint, you know. So those are the basics with why I want to do this. So I am not doing this to save money, although that is a beautiful perk. Now some of you might say again, like, well, my home's paid for. How am I really going to save any more money? Again, I mean, the taxes do keep going up, okay? They are also going to be building behind my home. They've already got the dozers out and everything. I have had realtors pestering me to sell this house. This house is valuable. I'm aware of that, and the value is just going to keep going like this. You know, on one hand, it would be wise for me to just stay put a little longer so that value can rise, but look, time is not a renewable resource. It is not like money. You can make more money. But when time is gone, it's gone. And if currently you're not fulfilled in your situation, you're just burning time, okay? To me, the time is more valuable than the money. That's the thing. I know I could rent this house. I could easily get $1,500, $2,000 a month. That's what they're going for. And this is a modest 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom ranch home in South Florida. You know, but it could be an excellent source of positive cash inflow for me, you know. But the thing is, renters just freak me out. I'm too big of a control freak with my own belongings. And I have a couple of close friends who own property. Like, one person owns 15 different houses in Boca Raton, renting them out. I had a very close friend in Southern California, San Diego, who managed the complex where I was at. And between their stories and other landlords I've known, it is horrific what some of these renters would do. You cannot even believe some of the stories. They are that shocking, where I'm just like, I cannot even believe people will come in and do this kind of shit to your place. And yes, they will. And no, the deposit they left will not cover it. And guess what? You can take them to court, you can sue them, you can win, but guess what? You can't squeeze blood out of a turnip. If they don't have it, they don't have it. Okay? So I have done custom work throughout this home with my own 2 hands. Well, like, I built this bar with this arch pass-through window behind me and put in a shelving system with these curtains here. I've done porcelain tile with my own 2 hands. I've done mosaics. Like, about every room has a custom mosaic in it, a design either on the floor or the wall. I've done faux paint finishing. I have built solid oak cabinets from scratch. I am very proud of how beautiful this place has turned out. It's been a nice, wonderful adventure. It's been a very good investment, but I bought this house intending to sell it and move forward. This house was a stepping stone. It's the first house I ever invested in, and I have already made money on this house, so it was a wise investment, and I'm glad I did it. But I'm not attached to it at all. I mean, I grew up moving around, been out of the country, all these places, you know, moved all over the United States, divorced parents, back and forth, okay. I am a nester by nature. I like to set up a home and stay put, but I am not afraid to pick up and move on. I'm not really like so much the nomadic type, you know. But I like to travel and things like that, but I like to come back to a home base. But I'm not afraid to change my home base, okay? I mean, by the time I was 6 months old, I'd already been across the country and back. So early on, my parents, you know, they had me moving. I was not a, well, I was pretty much a rolling stone. But I do like the idea of setting up permanent roots and planting fruit trees, watching them grow and mature like my little babies. You know, that's a beautiful thing, like just there's something secure feeling about having my piece of the rock, you know. But I don't need a big giant house. And I was thinking back to different places I've lived in over the years, like studio apartments and things that were actually quite comfortable and extremely well designed. And in fact, some of them had way more efficient storage than like typical apartments or even houses. So I have gotten a lot of inspiration out of past places I've lived that were historical and craftsman style homes. And being I like to build things, this will give me the opportunity to build from the ground up. I can even make my own furniture, which is something I've already been doing for many moons now. Early on, I started tinkering and building and putting stuff together. And then I've acquired quite a nice collection of tools over the years. And I would acquire my tools as I needed them. Like, you know, you're making something and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, you're going to need a special tool for this. I have a lot of different saws also, like from reciprocating to circular to jigsaw to hand saws to sheetrock to finishing saws to, you know, saws. And I have actually one that's antique, and I'm quite happy to have it. Yeah, I saw copper pipes, there's the hacksaw, you know, it's like the pipe cutter, which is different than a saw, but you know, it performs the same function. But I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I'm very hands-on, and I actually have people ask my opinion how to make and build stuff once they see my place. People tend to be impressed. And I have men asking me, I mean, where are the handymen anymore? They're all like from the digital era. No one knows how to hold a hammer. I don't know. It's like, one cool thing about the tiny house movement is most of them are do-it-yourselfers, or or they're willing to learn. Even if they have no construction skills, they're willing to tackle this house. And I have seen where people have built a home from scratch, which they now live in, and they had no previous construction skills whatsoever. Anyone can learn this who has the desire. There are some important things to know. Absolutely, but anyone with the interest can learn these. That's the basics. So yes, I'm going tiny house from a big house. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm just working on a couple of projects I need to complete before I can sell my house. The tiny house thing, so I will be selling this lot. I could keep the house, rent it out, like I said, and put the tiny house in the back as an accessory dwelling, but I just can't bring myself to rent the place out because I'm